Alright, this is a game review for this Volibear here, Jmalks. It's Bronze 1. And first start with Runes of Mastery. So runes look perfect. I would not change any of these. Maybe the magic resist. Volibear, typically on a jungler, like getting magic resist is good for early lane trades, but junglers in general like usually go cooldown blues. Um, it's a personal choice. If you're gonna make some really early ganks, magic resist is fine. Looks like 0, 12, 18. Pretty standard stuff here. The resolve tree looks fine. Volibear probably doesn't need tough skin. It'd be nice to have the brush and river because like his first clear is pretty healthy. It's up to you though. And then cunning. I don't like these two personally. They're okay. Especially on Volibear, they're probably fine because he likes to join these like grouped skirmishes all the time. But in general, 12, 0, 18 or 6, 6, 18 is usually better because these two are not that useful on a jungler. On Volibear, they're probably okay though. So overall, these look mostly fine. Let's go ahead and get into the game. So what I want to see in the first 20 seconds of being here is a ward. You need to place a ward in this brush here. You need to get someone to stand or ward this brush here. Don't have someone stand here because it leaves them viable to getting some sort of CC from long range, but this is a safe place to stand because it's a little bit longer of a reach. But you definitely need vision. This Bard is out here on his own, he might get killed. Let me turn off the red side vision. Okay, Bard got in a deep ward. He's probably fine. Okay. You just need to get your buff. Like, there's no reason for you guys to do this late invade. Okay, you're super late to this buff. Draven didn't help you. He gave you 2 autos. That's frustrating. Okay, so after you get your red buff, you kind of need to decide what am I going to do. They have a Scion support, it looks. So that looks like a lane that's super easy to punish. But the cost of doing that is yeah, it looks like you're going to go try and get a level 2. Their bot lane looks super easy to gank. You should have gone for it already. Okay, let me go back. I'm going to see if this... Yeah, let me go back. Indecision is a killer, so... Let me show you their vision. So they see you. This actually covers the entire... From Dragon to here. It covers the whole thing, so you might as well just go straight through it. It does cover the whole thing. The vision radius is actually... This circle is deceptive. It covers the entire thing. But... So you're pathing down. They didn't seem to notice you, even though this Scuttle Crab is here. So you sit in this brush for no reason. You just need to immediately go right for Jinx. And the fact that you waste 8 or 9 seconds... He flashed, she flashed. And then they're going to win because he gets knocked up. So he's going to have to blow heal. You lost this because of your indecision. Now, I bet you $10. He's going to go into your jungle and take your camps. So that's the cost of doing a level 2 or a level 3 early gank, is you sacrifice your buffs. So you have no mana, you have no reason to be down here. You just wasted time with that. So So your buff is still there because their Nocturne doesn't know how to jungle, which you get a lot in bronze. But he should have taken your buffs. Okay, you just... Basically, your whole jungle's clear. Your only option right now is to gank. This looks like a good lane to gank, but she's got a level advantage on him, so you need to be careful with that, because she has 6 and he doesn't. So she might be able to turn... Why did you just ward? This is gonna fail. Like, you don't need to ward both. Like, just go straight for the gank. Okay, she's... This might not fail now. It's gonna fail. You have to burn flash. Okay. This ward wasn't useful for that gank. You didn't even come in from this direction. You gave him a pink ward. Cool. I don't know if that's your pink, but that ward was a super waste of time. You would have been able to kill her without flash. This looks like a good lane to gank because he's out of mana. So take these and then gank him. Okay, he was playing super far back because he knows he's out of mana. Nocturne is topside, which basically doesn't... You can't do anything with that, but it's always good to be looking for where the jungler is, the enemy jungler, to know where you should be. I don't know why you're walking. I guess... Oh, Garen made a teleport play mid. Okay, so you're just covering... That's a good wave to cover. I figured Garen would be back in time. You'll notice that your red buff has spawned, and a good jungler is always pathing around his buffs. Unfortunately, you did have to cover top side, but I just, like, efficient pathing means getting your buffs when they spawn. This lane is low. He's out low on mana, but he does have a CS lead, so he should be pretty close to... Yeah, he's gonna buy soon. So you need to make a play. Oh, okay. Can't do anything with that anyway. Your bard isn't very good. So you're covering the tower. That's probably a good decision because Jinx can shred it super fast if you don't. Okay, don't. Once you get the tower, they'll get it in time. Just go get your buffs. Okay, you have red buff. You can force a play on the bot lane. He does have BF sword. She does too, but he's got an item advantage, so you should be making a play down here. Backing for no reason. Go make this play. At least you might be able to force their flash. He's got an item advantage, so you need to know when your lanes have an item advantage. Even though Jinx has more kills than him. Well, actually the same kills. But you should have gone bottom to make a play. You have wasted your level 6 power spike so far. You haven't actually used it on anyone yet. This might be a good lane to gank. Just go for it. You got her killed. You got Garen killed. Your hesitation to gank... Volibear doesn't need... Like, he's not a champion that needs to wait for them. You just need to go right in. So he's low. If you go in, she's not going to dive bomb him. But because she gets this stun, he dies. But had you just gone in, you would have been able to chase her. Because you have Swifties, and she's got only regular boots. There was no reason to delay that gank. It just got Garen killed. And so far, every single one of your ganks, you're being indecisive. It seems like you're demanding your laner to engage for you. You don't really need to do that, especially as Volibear. You kind of just run at them. And you have super fast move speed, and that's really all you need. So, definitely a big thing to work on. Okay, they got Dragon. Clear this ward and take his Krugs. You know that they're bottom lane, so you have no reason not to take his Krugs. You can make this gank. Poppy's going to be super aggressive all game, so get your blue buff and go gank top again. You need to be looking for lanes that, like, continually ganking a lane isn't bad. It's good if it works, and with a Poppy who's always going to constantly push because of her AoE damage, it's good to be continually ganking her. And Garen's getting completely steamrolled by her, so you really, like, it's just doubly beneficial. Your bot lane is also constantly pushed, which means it's good gank opportunity. You should be coordinating with your bot lane to gank, maybe on his power spike, or maybe just to gank. He's almost at his Bloodthirster power spike. So the more you hesitate here, the more they're going to keep doing that, because your Bard is really bad, and he's not playing his lane very well at all. He's eating a lot of Scion CC for no reason. So a lane that's feeding, especially a bot lane, like an assassin lane that's feeding is probably a jungler's worst nightmare, because there's nothing you can do. An assassin will just continue to feed without anything happening. But a lane like this with Scion and Jinx, there's no reason for them to continue to feed, because you can just outplay them. You can just gank them. Assassins are frustrating because you can't gank them because they'll just run away from you. But you need to be helping your lanes a little bit more in this game. So you're going for Scuttle Crab and backing. I think it's a good time to back. Jesus Christ. You need to just catch that. Yeah, join this fight that's happening. Okay, you don't need to push bottom. Just go jungle. I don't know why you're here. You have nothing to gain. You should have just immediately gone to your Krugs and your red buff for efficient pathing. You skipped your Krugs. I don't know if you're saying Draven get them, but you skipped them for no reason. Nocturne is 20 CS higher than you. Yeah, he hasn't done anything at all, but he's 20 CS higher than you. Okay, dragon's up in a minute, so you need to get vision around their dragon, which, I mean, you dropped your trinket there, which is good. But, you don't really need to be topside right now. In the 1 minute before a buff spawns, there's a lot of fights around that buff. This top lane, you can get after dragon. Garen can get this. But there's going to be continued fights around here. Their whole team is going to stay around here. This isn't split pushing, this is just greedy. So, unfortunately, your team is going to continue to get steamrolled because you're not there to help them. And you are your team's strongest member right now, so you need to be with your team using that gold instead of slowly split pushing. Volibear's not the best split pusher, so I wouldn't focus on it as a Volibear main. Also, that ward was kind of useless. Their whole team is mid. You're farming when you can catch them at dragon. You know their team's going to be a dragon. Your team just died, which actually is kind of a good thing because they all have fresh new items. So you should have fought them at dragon. You should have had your team engage dragon because you had 4 members there and they probably only had 2 or 3. And your team had fresh items and their team didn't. You're a little bit too scared of fighting in the mid game, which right now the meta is all about mid game power control, which is mostly the jungler's job. Okay, so you're farming during all of these fights. I would like to critique how you're fighting, but you're not. You're farming while they're fighting, and unfortunately, they're winning all three lanes, so it's hard to decide what to do. But I would like to see you joining fights. I want to see you leading the charge to initiate fights. You can push this lane. You can push this lane. You can get this other like 6 CS here. So your indecision made you miss one. You've actually missed all three. All four. 5. You only got one of those 6 minions. You really need to fix that last hitting mechanic. I don't know about Thornmail as a first item buy. It doesn't give health, so you're only itemizing against their 80 damage, and I typically like and you're not enhancing Cinderhulk or Volibear's W. No, his Q. His Q does max health damage. I like Thornmail as like a third or fourth item. I just don't like it as a first item. I think you need to get health, which will defend against all types of damage, and health will continue. See, like, he just did a third of your health with his W, but if you, like, had 700 health, then it would have made a lot smaller of a difference. So right now he's, like, your biggest threat because of your item build. I wonder if your Ahri is just rage quitting. She's your team's only strong person. So another thing you were doing there was you were defending mid against a Veigar who doesn't have any real threat against the turret while they took your towers. I understand that this game is almost completely lost, but it's still like the right place for you to be would defend this. So it looks like they win off of this push. Yeah. So unfortunately, like, you didn't send me nop.gg to link. I don't like looking at these like super steamroll games because it's really hard to find good plays when there really isn't a good play ever in the entire game. Like, no, not that you didn't like. Basically, what I mean is it's hard to find a good play when there is no good play for you to be able to make. And when all three lanes end up losing so hard, sometimes you just lose those games. There's kind of the 30-40-30 rule that some people talk about, where 30% of games you're going to carry, 30% or 40% of games are about 50-50, where it could be like anyone's game, and about 30% of games you're just complete loss. And this looks like one of those bottom 30% where you have a really bad Bard who goes really far behind in lane, and Draven who gets far behind with a Bard who's far behind. It's really bad for your team. But there's a lot of things you could have done to not be so far, like, to help out that situation. I do want to bring this gank up because it's a common theme of all of your ganks. So I can't. The client's not working very well anymore. Okay, well, it was this first gank. You sat in this bush for a long time. What you need to do is just lead the charge. And this gank actually ended up blowing 2 flashes and a heal on your side in exchange for just 1 flash on their side. You should have just immediately gone in because they would have hopefully would have followed up by like helping you with that kill. There was another gank up here on Poppy where you came over here to ward and then kill Poppy. There was another gank up here on Poppy where you sat in the bush for a long time and she killed Garen before you could do anything. So that's probably the biggest thing I saw in this game, which prevented your team from snowballing, because most of your ganks ended up actually trading a kill for a kill, which is a bad thing for a jungler. You don't want actually to trade a kill for a kill, because what that means, you have to assume that your laners are bad and their laners are good, which means you'd rather go 0 for 0, which prevents their good character, their good player from getting gold. You'd rather do that than go 1 for 1, which means your good player has gold, but no, your bad player has gold, but their player who's good has gold. If that makes sense. Like, you want to put gold on the hands of people who are the most empowered by it. And so going 1 for 1 in a gank is actually a failed gank in my opinion. So that's probably the biggest critique I would say. And I'd be happy to look at another game. Just like maybe tell me which one that you want me to look at first. But another thing, just a little bit of things. If you see Nocturne down here, take his camps up top. If you see a Nocturne up top, take his camps down bottom. Also, there was just a little bit of efficiency in your pathing where like you need to take camps before backing, or just it's kind of hard to see a lot from this game because your team was losing basically from the start. But hopefully the feedback I gave was helpful, and if you